Hard copy letter to President Joe Biden and President Kamala Harris. July 16, 2021. President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. The White House. Office of the President. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, NW. Washington, D.C. 20500. Dear President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. The Ethiopian people are thrilled and grateful to you from your standpoint on the Ethiopian people's side banning the Ethiopian government officials' trip to the U.S. to help the Ethiopian people have democracy by calling all-inclusive dialogue for sustainable peace and reconciliation. Furthermore, the USA is the oldest and longest ally for Ethiopia since 1903. Subject: urgent appeal and seeking support regarding the deteriorating and dire situation in Ethiopia. The situation of Ethiopia is becoming progressively deteriorating and anticipating to elevate into severe humanitarian crisis. Before this, we repeatedly appealed to the UN, Human Rights Council, and International Amnesty to consider Ethiopia's helpless and voiceless people, who fail under the brutal rebels' control for 30 years slaveries. We concerned Ethiopians revealed enough evidence to the UN body many times without exhausting alarming for consideration the case of the Ethiopian people, which seems the worst inhuman case on this planet. Also, we reported to all international community numerous times to consider people's cases as human beings' cases. Still, no international body responds to tackle this consistently dire situation and inhuman condition in Ethiopia. In addition to that, we did report multiple times to the world community about the puzzle of Ethiopian people under the ethnic federalism and unaccountable government of Ethiopia condition, how they eradicate and depopulate the Ethiopian people everywhere using ethnic cleansing, genocide by assimilating birth control, deceiving uneducated countryside mothers without their informed consent. In Ethiopia, our grave concern is still the Ethiopian people remain under the ethnic federalism that TPLF and Oromo Liberation Front intentionally formulated with ethnic boundary, Kilil, to dismantle and destroy Ethiopia from the globe with cessation right on Article 39. However, this 1995 fraudulent constitution is not legitimate and invalid because it does not promulgate to the Ethiopian people in 1995, and the people never ratified it. Nevertheless, TPLF and Oromo Liberation Front rebels are using currently that fraudulent constitution until today, who hold power for 30 years since 1991. After they took power, they have been deliberately committed to widespread depopulation, systematic attack, and direct killing. Additionally, these rebels brutally committed mass murder, massacres, dehumanization, genocide, ethnic cleansing, unethical human torturing, land grabbing, displacing people, exposing people for hunger, expose people for disease every year, girls' abduction of students from universities, individuals' disappearance, children for the military, unjust imprisonment, and other crimes against humanity including human rights abuses reached the threshold. Dear President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. We, the Ethiopian Survival and Salvation Association, ESSA, are writing this letter to show you our clear objectives. 1. We, the Ethiopian people, intensely demand national referendum for a new constitution. 2. Call Ethiopians for national dialogue all-inclusive to discuss the new proposed constitution draft on hand already written by the people for the people. 3. Immediately to hold a specific day to make a national referendum for a new constitution. The implementation proposal after the national referendum for a new constitution commencement. 1. According to a new constitution of Ethiopia, all independent institutions commissioners, including federal court judges and constitutional court judges, will take their places. 2. The Ethiopian Defense Ministry and Ministry of Information will become part of an independent institution as soon as the national referendum for a new constitution commencement has been done. 3. Police training equally for all 14 provinces. 4. Equally pledged national police training from all 14 provinces. 5. We need the U.S. and all international communities to pledge for democratization fund and logistics assistance for police training complementary, and to put the new Ethiopian democracy to stand on its feet with your robust implementation. 6. The peaceful, accessible, fair and free presidential election campaign starts in all 14 provinces. Finally, the next presidential election in Ethiopia with the U.S. and all other allies and international communities' cooperation will bring the Ethiopian resurrection with a sustainable solution. Therefore, urgently we need to remove ethnic federalism and replace it with a new democracy by making national referendum for a new constitution in Ethiopia, before performing the oath of office to bring a peaceful and everlasting sustainable solution. We, the undersigned members of the Ethiopian American community and friends of Ethiopia living in different states of America and beyond, came together under the umbrella of Ethiopian Survival and Salvation Association, ESSA, submitting this open letter to express our great concern on the recent election held in Ethiopia that, based on the government law which is known as the Unusual Constitution in the UN archive that was created to destroy Ethiopia by anti-Ethiopia secession groups or factions like EPLF, TPLF, and Oromo Liberation Front. These factions are all separatist and intentionally introduced Article 39 to enslave Ethiopians and then to fragment Ethiopia. Article 39, number 1 states that every nation, nationality, and people in Ethiopia have an unconditional right to self-determination, including the right to secession. Thus, the election for Ethiopia based on such anti-Ethiopian law will defeat its purpose. That is why the election shall not serve Ethiopia's interest. This election has failed all pivotal requirements of a standard election process. Peace, security, and stability is the most important one. Some regions like Tigray, Somali, Harar, most Benshangul, some Oromia regions do not have elections. Most places have no option as the sitting government is the only one for the people casting their vote, no choice. The government started to officially nominate and assign to different power individuals before the election board announced the election result. The government started to arrest, kill, hunt strong opposition party members, continued hiding what is happening against humanity in Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, many innocent civilians are slaughtered in different parts of Ethiopia, especially in Oromia and Benshangul regions. Many Amhara innocent citizens were slaughtered in the city center in the face of their families without due process in Walega. 3 cities, Shashamane, Adayi, Karakore, have burned down to ashes. According to the Amhara Professionals Union, APU, a United States-based diaspora organization, attempted to track events since July 2018, about 30 churches have been attacked, mainly in eastern and southern Ethiopia, with more than half of them burned to the ground. We also learned such crime of slaughtering active community members in their taxi in the Ethiopian capital city Addis Ababa, and no one is held accountable to date. The Tigray conflict is escalated to a full-blown war between the Ethiopian military and TPLF once the Ethiopian military in the Northern Command attack by TPLF, where the military is defending the people TPLF administering are Ethiopians. Manufactured hunger is brewing at different parts of Ethiopia, Tigray, Oromia, Amhara, Benishangul, etc., due to poor handling and lack of concern to displaced citizens by regional governments, including TPLF, Amhara, Oromia, Benshangul and southern regions' prosperity parties. The war crime committed in Tigray should have been avoidable if both TPLF and the Ethiopian government have a concern for the people they are leading and administering. Currently, the Ethiopian government left Mekelle and a considerable part of Tigray irresponsibly. The government left Ethiopians in the hands of TPLF unprotected in the Tigray Kilil, ethnic-based territory, without making any security or withdrawal arrangement of the federal employees, university and college students, Ethiopian-loving Tigrayans, etc. In Tigray, we heard that women and girls gang-raped. Well-documented genocide committed on Amhara people. At least 600 innocent citizens were killed in one day in Maikadra, 250 in one day in Walega, more than 100 were killed in Benshangul, and these are few examples of the Amhara genocide. Many people displaced from Tigray, Walega, Ghetto, Gorafurda, Atay, Karakore, South Wello, etc., and killings by armed forces and government-sponsored killings of civilians are everyday events in Ethiopia. The whole of Ethiopia and these specific incidents require immediate intervention by the US and the whole peace-loving world to ensure the well-being of these citizens of Ethiopians left irresponsibly with TPLF. After a long silence, the US has spoken and is acting against criminals, executing gross acts of crime against humanity. The 21st century is called the era of the Constitution. However, Ethiopia is still under a fraudulent and criminal government law copied primarily from the TPLF manifesto that empowers the government to enslave the Ethiopian people. This law has roped God-given rights of sovereignty and land ownership from Ethiopians and gave it to the government. This fraudulent and unusual constitution does not know Ethiopians as a citizen and sovereign human being. Ethiopians did not have a constitution, and Ethiopia's people demand a national dialogue to bring a national consensus that brings forth a new constitution. Since the government uses the current government law to enslave the people structurally, we Ethiopians are working towards a national referendum for a new constitution and demolish the current governing law. The new reconciling constitution empowers the Ethiopian people over the government. Discussion is going forward by Ethiopians as concerned citizens have already drafted a new constitution that satisfies all the international covenant requirements for civic and political rights, ICCPR, and presented it for the Ethiopian public to nurture, improve, and making the necessary changes. Dear President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, our urgent appeal and direct advocacy focus on restoring our oldest and most extended friendship of the United States of America and Ethiopia, a reliable strategic ally of the United States in the Horn of Africa. Identifying and finding out a fundamental mistake in 1991 that puts TPLF in power, and in 2021 to resolve the mistake done in 1991 and reconstructing the relationship of our two countries on a solid foundation by removing this dangerous obstacle which is the leading root cause of deteriorating devastation. This new solid foundation aligns the American interest with Ethiopian resurrection by helping Ethiopian people secure a national referendum for the new constitution, an American core value. While Ethiopia has been, and remains to be, a reliable strategic ally of the United States in the Horn of Africa, we firmly believe that what the Senate, the House of People's Representatives, and your administration came up with as a recommendation will help repair the century-old and actual alliance. Once Ethiopia voted for a referendum on a new constitution and implementation of the new constitution is done, then, we will have free and independent institutions that uphold the rule of law in Ethiopia. It is also with great pleasure to witness what the United States of America has helped Ethiopians to transfer technology and knowledge in building century-old institutions that became the pride of Ethiopia, to name a few, are Ethiopian Airlines, the Ethiopian Telecommunication, the Ethiopian Air Force, the Ethiopian Marine, Ethiopian Roads Authority, agricultural development projects such as ARDU, WADU and KADU, educational institutions like Addis Ababa University, Ailmaya College of Agriculture and Mechanical Arts, agricultural technical schools, Ambo and Jimma, now all are universities. The United States of America and the whole world will benefit from a strong Ethiopia. It is a recorded history that Ethiopia has paid its due with courage and bravery on its alliance with the United States of America, to name a few, alliance in war with South Korea, Democratic Congo, Somalia, and on all places where Ethiopia participated in the fight against terrorism, etc. It now is a historical test of time for the United States of America to help and save Ethiopia from separatist forces, and help Ethiopians install their new constitution as the supreme law of the land that facilitates togetherness, nurture humanity in all aspects and regain its status as a solid and dependable ally of the United States of America, and the absolute peace and justice-loving world. Such a people-to-people alliance will promote our shared interest in the Horn of Africa and beyond. We Ethiopians shall not allow the elected Prime Minister to perform an oath to destroy Ethiopia and realize the mission of the unique and unusual constitution. This blue book works to our demise. Therefore, we, members of the Ethiopian American community in the United States of America, kindly requesting your action per your recommendation that Ethiopia start the democratization process before the performance of the oath of office, as it aligns with the interest of Ethiopia and Ethiopians. Background. 1. The root cause of genocide, crime against humanity in Ethiopia, is the 1995 fraudulent constitution intentionally written by TPLF rebels with deep-covered sabotages and imposed on the Ethiopian people as constitution by force. 2. The 1995 fraudulent constitution of Ethiopia is invalid because it was never promulgated to the Ethiopian people to give their consent and never ratified by the Ethiopian people. 3. The 1995 fraudulent constitution of Ethiopia preamble belongs to the undefined nations. 4. The 1995 fraudulent constitution of Ethiopia is unusual in the world because it doesn't say we the Ethiopian people, instead, its preamble says, we the nations. Therefore, a case in point is the so-called Ethiopian Transitional Government Constitution 1995. Since this constitution was established in 1995 by these ethnic groups controlling power, a considerable Ethiopian majority protested and denounced it as divisive, dangerously framed, and illegitimate. The primary evil phrase found in the constitution preamble. They have clearly stated that we the nations, nationalities, and peoples of Ethiopia, as if Ethiopia is a developing confederal nation, nationalities, and peoples. Thus, they dismantled the unity of the Ethiopian people, and have created version of their policy document, illegitimate, deceitful, full confederal 10 ethnic boundaries, killals, based on languages discrimination, exclusion, and violations of rights of Ethiopians. The 1995 TPLF's constitution removes the Ethiopian people's nationality status, citizenship rights, natural, legal, and universal human rights, such as land holding or ownership, civil and political rights, free movement of citizens, fair representation in all the public affairs, and the decision-making rights as citizens. They have also intentionally and deliberately inserted Article 8:47 that stated that Ethiopia belongs to selective ethnic groups and denied, derogated, every individual citizen natural birth and universal rights. Article 39 that provided and facilitated the right to self-determination up to secession for only those selective groups. Namely, the two secession groups planned to create Greater Tigray and Greater Oromia by destroying the rest of the majority of Ethiopians, particularly Amhara and mixed-race Ethiopians. The above articles alone violated numerous international human rights provisions, such as Article 12 Free Movement of Citizens, Article 1, Article 14 Prohibition of discrimination of all forms, as provided by the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights 1966, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948. These illegitimate and illegal groups, namely, the Tigray Liberation Front and the Oromo Liberation Front, were established as ethnic secessionist groups. They have no legitimacy and legal authority to make constitutions, laws, and changes to the country's sovereign territorial integrity, including its demography. According to international customary practice and standards, a country or a state can only establish one constitutional law for a unitary state to serve all the citizens equally and fairly. One of the primary purposes of a constitution is to serve as a guiding principle for government in every society worldwide. Simultaneously, it acknowledges the citizens' power, limits the government power, holds government officials accountable to the people they are employed to serve. A constitution provision includes a specific article to control abuse of power through independent institutions. The constitution establishes this ratified by the Ethiopian people to be governed by a constitution is a body of fundamental principles or established precedents according to which a particular nation is acknowledged and given consent to be governed under this law. The present TPLF and Oromo Liberation Front policy paper does not satisfy the criteria for a constitution within the meaning of international principles. The Ethiopian Survival Salvation Association, ESSA, members reject the Ethiopian Transitional Constitution, which was established in 1995, and not promulgated to the Ethiopian people. Additionally, we have clear evidence that the TPLF secessionist group ratified only and imposed upon the Ethiopian people. These anti-Ethiopian groups have acknowledged the international community because they have the means to conceal the truth and deceive the international community through them state-controlled propaganda machine, i.e., the media, press, and international diplomacy work. This illicit TPLF/OLF, Oromo Liberation Front, policy paper, the so-called constitution, has reduced Ethiopia practically into different small countries with independent political, military, and economic entities. These entities have their media as well. On the other hand, they have actively propagated and used Ethiopia's name until their hidden purpose and benefit is fulfilled. TPLF rebels to get funds and economic, military advantages from the international community. They wrote this deceitful action would continue until they complete their hidden purpose. That is the realization of the Greater Tigray Republic and the Greater Oromia Republic, on the destruction of the majority mixed race and Amhara ethnic Ethiopians by a gradual genocide, displacement, and imprisonment of the intellectuals by economic genocide and various forms of discrimination that they had already committed since 1991 when they assumed power. These secessionist groups have an extended plan and purpose of creating two new states, Greater Tigray and Greater Oromia, on Ethiopia's ashes, very carefully and gradually by their deceitful way in cheating. It is ironic that a regime that has been ruling a country, and the people of Ethiopia vehemently hates and stays in power for nearly 3 decades. They are anti-Ethiopian traitors who employed various manipulative ways, such as holding periodic fake elections under this fraudulent racist and ill-designed policy document. When they wrote a fake and dangerous constitution, they deliberately have designed to destroy this ancient nation's social, political, and economic fabrics to accomplish the long-time desire of the foreign enemies with colonial fascistic mentality, such as the Arabs, Mussolini and Hitler. They have been murdering innocent people, including women and children, transferring the donated and borrowed money to foreign banks, and depositing in the name of their families. They have displaced millions of innocent civilians, particularly the ethnic Amhara population, tortured prisoners, denailing fingers and toes, wanton mass killings, and imprisonments. They have also committed high crimes and serious treason by partitioning Eritrea and denying the second most populous country in Africa without an outlet to the sea. The Ethiopian Survival Salvation Association, ESSA, members demand a national referendum for a new constitution to hold a meaningful, legitimate fair periodic national election from 2021. We have prepared a draft constitution proposed for the Ethiopian people to discuss and make their comments freely. We need the intervention of the international community to assist the Ethiopian people in implementing this vital document to be realized to solve the complex problems of our people permanently. This draft constitution proposal on the international standard for a country constitution, where the preamble of the introductory sentence correctly states, "We the people of Ethiopia." The main reason we members of ESSA rejected the above aforesaid fake constitution for two main reasons. First, the preamble notion of the 1995 Ethiopian Transitional Constitution does not open internationally with the familiar authority that should usually say, "We the people of Ethiopia." Secondly, the owner of Ethiopia and the constitution failed to address the actual owner as of the Ethiopian people. Instead, the TPLF rebels put the nations, nationalities and peoples of Ethiopia on the 1995 Transition Constitution of Ethiopia. Therefore, this is a grave crime committed because no constitution was drafted in this world comprising 3 entities, nations or countries, nationalities, and peoples. Therefore, this greatest evil violates the Ethiopian people's fundamental legal rights. Therefore, we concerned Ethiopians organized themselves as a civil society entity under the Ethiopian Survival and Salvation Association, ESSA, condemned and denounced this evil practice against us. They deliberately made it look as though Ethiopia is a collection of various countries that agreed to establish a cooperative confederal arrangement. Thus, to save our country and nation from this above aforesaid dangerous evil, apart from condemned and denounced the traitors' transitional constitution outrightly, we also have been educating our people about their legitimate right and how to defend it. Furthermore, the TPLF rebels violated the fundamental principles of a constitutional right for a sovereign nation. We further condemned and denounced their intentional insertion of Articles 8 and 39 to deliberately segregating the nation by creating civil war and destroy its unity, integrity, and sovereignty. They partitioned the country using false and dangerous ethnic federalism formulating based on language and ethnicity. TPLF and Oromo Libation Front cessations groups discriminated against and derogated most Ethiopian people's natural, legal and civil rights. Eventually, this fraudulent TPLF's 1995 Ethiopia's transitional constitution still leads the Ethiopian people into tribal civil war between various ethnic and religious groups. After all, the ESSA members opposed the beginning of fake and ludicrous elections, based on this racist and discriminatory policy document firmly as the country doesn't have a valid and legitimate constitution. We urge the United Nations to intervene and save the Ethiopian people from accomplishing a national referendum for a new Ethiopian constitution and ratification before any periodic national election commencing from 2021. The only legitimate practice for Ethiopians is ratifying a new constitution and formally effective. We want to express our intention to work with United Nations and concerned organs to bring the best and lasting solution for the Ethiopian people based on equality, fraternity, peace and justice. We also like to bring this to the attention of the Ethiopian people as a reminder that they are the supreme and ultimate authority of power. Additionally, people have an inalienable, indivisible, universal right to determine their fate, establish their constitution, select, appoint their leaders, and remove them from power. Therefore, people have the power to stand up united to make your destiny by your own decision, and defend your God-given natural and legal rights. However, no one has the supreme authority to determine your life, except for God. May God bless Ethiopia and the United States of America, and their alliance for furthering peace, unity, kindness, sharing, and truth are honorable. Yours respectfully. Ethiopian Survival and Salvation Association, ESSA, Committee. Mekonnen Doyamo, Chairperson of ESSA. Tefera Demis, Vice Chairperson of ESSA. Dr. Negash Amsalu, Secretary of ESSA. Argash Gevret Sadik, Lawyer. Engineer Mesfin Yilma, Community Organizer. Aster Jesses, Community Organizer. Baruch Ibas, Media Director. Contact 61270228899. Email doyamo1@gmail.com. CC. Honorable Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House. The Congressional Hearing on Conflict in Ethiopia Committee. Honorable Representative Gregory Meeks, Chairperson of Foreign Affairs Committee. Honorable Representative Michael McCall, Ranking Member, Foreign Affairs Committee. Honorable Chris Smith, U.S. Congressman and distinguished members of House Foreign Relations Committee. Honorable Representative Karen Bass, California, Ranking Member of African Affairs, Global Health, Global Human Right. Honorable Representative Chris Smith, Ranking Member. Honorable Representative Scott Perry, Pennsylvania. Honorable Representative Darrell Issa, California. Honorable Representative David Cicilline, Rhode Island. Honorable Representative Adam Daniel Kinzinger, Illinois. Honorable Representative Dina Titus, Nevada. Honorable Representative Tim Burchett, Tennessee. Honorable Representative Susan Wild, Pennsylvania. Honorable Representative Gregory Stube, Pennsylvania. Honorable Representative Dean Phillip, Minnesota. Honorable Representative August Pfluger, Texas, Ranking Member Subcommittee Europe, Energy and Environment. Honorable Representative Andy Levin, Michigan, Asia-Pacific Relations. Honorable Representative Joaquin Castro, Texas, International Development, International. Organization and Global Social Impact Subcommittee. Honorable Ronnie Jackson, Global Health and Human Rights Committee. Honorable Representative Ihan Omar, Minnesota, Vice Chair, African Affairs, Global Health and Global Human Right. Honorable Representative Young Kim, Asia Pacific Non-Proliferation. Honorable Representative Tom Malinowski, New Jersey. Honorable Representative Andy Kim, New Jersey. Honorable Representative Sarah Jacobs, California, Vice Chair, International Development. Honorable Representative Juan Vargas, California, Vice Chair of International Western Hemisphere. Civilian Security, Migration and Economic Policy. U.S. Senate. Honorable Senator Menendez, Chairman. Honorable Senator Rich, Ranking Member. Honorable Senator Kitotrend. Honorable Ambassador Robert Godek, Acting Assistant Secretary for Bureau of African Affairs for U.S. Department of State. Honorable Ms. Sarah Charles, USAID's Assistant to Administrator for the Bureau of Humanitarian Affairs.